Cam got hit.
What up, folks? CJ here, back for another movie review. This time I'm going to be talking about the film Widows. Directed by Steve McQueen, starring Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki, Cynthia Erivo, Colin Farrell, was it Brian Tyree Henry, Dane Kaluuya, and Robert Duvall, and Liam Neeson. Yeah, this movie is really good, and I know that I say that about, if you've been listening to a lot of the reviews, I say that about a good chunk of movies, but this movie was actually really good. I was very much excited about this film from the time that it was announced and they showed that first trailer because of just the people that's involved. And the premise of it, we've seen it to various degrees and stuff of women, a group of women whose husbands might have been into some shady stuff, and through some circumstances the women are tasked with picking up the pieces of what they did and stuff like that. We've seen this plenty of times and stuff. I think what makes this movie really good is just the way the story goes, and just, I'm not gonna say how the story goes, I guess the way, I guess I will say that, the way the story kind of goes and such, and the circumstances behind it. Viola Davis plays Veronica Rawlins. Her husband, who is played by Liam Neeson, Harry, him and a group of other guys, they, rob the place and stuff, and through circumstances end up getting killed. And the person that they robbed from was Brian Tyree Henry's character. He is a Jamal Manning. He is basically a crime boss who's running for mayor of this ward. And they rob him and stuff, and he basically visits Viola that, on some, your husband robbed from me, and now you're basically in charge of getting me my money back now. And when you see the trailer and when you see how the story plays out and stuff, you have this woman who let's be real about this. I think Viola, she definitely, I think this movie overall is going to get a lot of Oscar nods, but Viola in particular, she's always, whatever role that you put her in, that you're going to get just solid acting across the board. And what I love about her character is that you see that she loved, Harry. She loved, Liam's character, just loved him very much. And over the course of the movie, you see the circumstances and things of that nature of how she kind of felt about what he did and stuff, because she wasn't stupid and stuff, but you saw how over the years of their relationship and how it reacted, the circumstances that led to certain arguments and things that happened in their relationship and stuff. And they do it in a very good way over the course of it, because all these women, for the most part, have dealt with bullshit in their lives and stuff. You have Elizabeth Debicki's character, Alice. She, her husband is John Bernthal and stuff. Her husband is very abusive. He plays a very abusive husband and stuff. But then, it's kind of as her character says in the movie, when the job was over, he was a very nice, loving husband, but the lead up to said heist and stuff, or any heist for that matter, he was always this abusive person, whenever she questioned him and got angry that he was always away and stuff. And you see how it affects her character, and the fact that when he's dead, she's trying to figure out what could she possibly do in her life. Because her mom, is this kind of you can kind of say she's kind of an enabler, so to speak, because it's kind of a situation where Alice, over the course of the film, is kind of acknowledging her worth and stuff, because at one point she has a relationship with Lucas Haas and stuff. He plays this rich person and stuff, and you're thinking that it's going to go one way in that relationship, and it doesn't. And like I said, her character, she kind of realizes over the course of the movie, she has to know her worth. because she's just being used and abused to varying degrees. Because you go from one abusive relationship you go from one toxic relationship to another, and you see how that affects her character. And like I said, it's very good character growth over the course of the film and stuff. Got Michelle Rodriguez's character Linda, who, her husband is this person who very just a chronic gambler, and she owns a store, and the circumstances surrounding him dying kind of affects her having this whole store, and her husband just being there's love there, but just ultimately the circumstances of him dying just kind of puts the screws on her relationship, particularly with her husband's mom, who, she blames her for why her husband did that. Never mind the fact that her actions had, like, her being married to him had jack shit to do with his decisions. And you see how it's stressing her out with her kids and just trying to figure everything out and stuff. So you have all this coming together with these women and them dealing with their demons and trying to grow over the course of it and stuff. And, obviously the wild card is Cynthia Erivo's character, Belle, who her role in this film, she's the driver for the women and stuff, but like how she factors into it and how she has a sort of connection to it. When you watch the movie, you see it and you're like, oh, okay, cool. That's dope. That's awesome. That's great. I think she's kind of like I would say Cynthia and Elizabeth are probably the two characters who I think a lot of folks are going to come out of this film really loving and enjoying and stuff. It's nothing against Michelle Rodriguez. I think she really did very well in this movie and stuff. But I think all four women, period, do really well in this film for their respective characters and stuff. But like I said, I think Cynthia, she was definitely a standout. Same with Elizabeth. They were both very standout characters and stuff, particularly for what they had to do. One of the key things that I also enjoyed was the other subplot with Jamal Manning. That's Brian Tyree Henry's character, and his brother, who Daniel Kaluuya is playing. And Daniel Kaluuya, like, he's been on pretty much a roll with his movie roles, Get Out. I mean, even if you've seen any of the stuff that he was involved in before Get Out and stuff, he was always good and stuff anyways. But Get Out and, Black Panther, and now you got this film, he really does a phenomenal job playing, like, this enforcer. Like, just, you get a sense of, like, I don't want to fuck with this guy. And he does it really well. At no point are you sitting up there thinking, oh, it's the dude from Get Out. Whatever. I don't take him. No, like, he plays, I think, was it Jateme? Jateme, I think that's his name, or whatever his name is. That's, his brother. But, like, he plays him in such a very sinister way. And the subtlety in how he goes about things. Because at one point, since they robbed his brother and stuff, there were two people that were in charge of the money, and at one point you get a moment where he's questioning the guys, like, hey, you were in charge of protecting that money and stuff. How did they sit there and do that? And then you find out, oh, the guys were rapping and stuff and they weren't paying attention. And you get that moment where he's listening to, he's like, all right, come on, just go ahead and tell me what you were doing that night when all this happened. And they were rapping, and then boom, little small spoiler, but he kills him and stuff. And it's done in such a way, it's done and straight to the point. He isn't hamming it up. He isn't going over the top. It's just very subtle and just straight to the point. And I love it. I think, we saw a little bit of that in Black Panther. Well, not in terms of the characterization, but you saw that he could go to that point. Because even in Black Panther with his character, he was very much kind of like going along with the power structure, so to speak. You never felt like you felt his anger on why he did what he did, but like, there was still a level of good-heartedness there. Like, he meant well, but it was just the wrong decision and stuff. In this movie, he plays such a sinister enforcer that you believe it. At no point in time are you feeling as though, oh, I can take this good dog. No, because even, when he rolls into the room and his boys roll in the room, shit's about to go down. And he's another character that stands out. Even Brian Tyree Henry, as a crime boss and stuff, he gets his point across very well because he's running against Colin Farrell's character Jack Mulligan, who I'll get into in a minute. You know, it very much plays into the politics that you see nowadays and stuff. Here's this guy who lives in the hood, and knows the people, and then you got Colin Farrell's character Jack Mulligan, who is like, to really kind of paint the picture here. Let's just get it out the way here. Robert Duvall plays his dad, Tom Mulligan, and he's at odds with his son because Jack really, in the grand scheme of things, never wanted to run for mayor in the first place. But he's doing it because, hey, his father was mayor, and he figured, and, his father kind of pushed him in that direction. But, his father, Tom, he's racist as shit. Like, in the racism that you see with Tom, and even slightly with Jack, it's the type of shit that you see because this movie is in Chicago, so it, both of them have this mentality of, oh, these black people killing themselves, and we got to save them from themselves, and da 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 da, and Tom is just very old school racist, like straight up. Like, and to the point that even Jack is just looking at him like, you're racist, but, you're kind of, diet racist too. But, like, just seeing that the son is getting it a little bit from his father, but he also wants to go about it differently. But, even at the end of the day, he still ain't shit just like his dad and stuff. It's just done in a different way. And I thought, like, seeing him and Jack and Jamal kind of, like, butt heads and stuff in at odds, because you got Jamal, who is his crime boss, and he kind of has this Stringer Bell type of mentality of, hey, I'm tired of getting shot on the streets. I want to make this money legit and not have to deal with that shit anymore. And hey, look, I respect the hustle. I think that's great and stuff because, like I said, Stringer Bell had kind of the same mentality in The Wire and stuff. I think it was season 3. In terms of making his money legit instead of them getting shot up out here on the streets and stuff. He just wanted to do good. And, at one point, Jamal's brother, he's sitting up there saying, you sure this is the right decision and stuff? And he's like, nah, I'm just tired of it. I want to, I am for the people and stuff. So you have that. There is a bit of a plot twist in the film. I'm not going to spoil that and stuff, but it's a very good plot twist and stuff. Because, for those that don't know, this movie was based off of, I believe, it was a British TV series, if I remember correctly. So, if you've seen that, then you probably know where it's coming from. But like when you see the plot twist, it's like, oh man, that is, I didn't see it coming, But just getting back to the film itself, but just everybody. Even with that political subplot, I felt it was great. I felt that was something that worked as a background subplot for the overall film. Because while you are following these 4 women and how they're going to plan out this heist to pay back, Jamal, the subplot of Jamal running against Jack in this political aspect and stuff was very good because it plays a part in regards to the women and all that stuff, because even though it's a backdrop, you see how the political aspects of where they're running at is affecting the businesses and such, and when you see how it all plays out, it's like, oh, okay, I'm with it, I'm for it. It works, it's cool, it's fine, it's awesome. So yeah, I really feel that every actor and actress, big or small, they do a really phenomenal job with their parts and stuff because, with what little time that you see of Liam Neeson, because you get flashbacks, like I said, with Viola's character and Liam Neeson's characters and their relationship building up to when he gets killed and stuff. And you see how you see the ebbs and flows of the relationships, and that's with every woman. You see the ebbs and flows of Michelle Rodriguez's character is Linda, and the ebbs and flows of her relationship with her husband, because like I said, her husband's a chronic gambler, and you saw how that affected their relationship and their marriage and her business and stuff. With Alice, and like I said, with John Bernthal, her husband John Bernthal, you see the ebbs and flows of relationship. Again, very toxic relationship in the grand scheme of things, but she stuck by him because reasons. And like I said, even with Cynthia, you get a little bit of background with her and how she's this single mom who's just working to try to provide for her daughter and do better for her daughter and stuff. And like I said, it everybody has a purpose. At no point are you feeling as though there's a waste of a character or there's a waste of a role. Like everybody plays a part in it. And to me, in the grand scheme of everything, it just works and stuff. This whole movie works. Even the music, I think it was Hans Zimmer does the music, and I love it. I think it does very well and stuff. And the cinematography is great. You know, when you get to the actual heist itself and how everything plays out, it's great. Like it feels very raw and real, and it just works. And I just love the different things. Like at one point, was it Danny Kaluuya is like, you know, trying to get answers from this guy that used to be Liam Neeson's info dude and stuff, and just how you see the camera angles on when he's going at dude and stuff, trying to press him for information and stuff, and it's great, you know, and just everything about this film from top to bottom is phenomenal, and it's definitely worth the watch completely across the board. Like I said, I would not be surprised if this film gets an Oscar nomination stuff. Because I'm a big fan of heist movies, big time and stuff. Because you get varying degrees of heist films. Because you know you get your stuff like you get your very goofy ones. Well, I can say goofy. I guess you get your over the top ones like the Italian Job, or even the Ocean's movies and stuff like that. And you even get stuff like Inside Man, Reservoir Dogs, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Baby Driver to an extent. But then I think there was, and to me, at least for me, one of the films that I kind of reminds me of a little bit was, I think it was this film, I forgot, I think it was Robert De Niro. Oh man, I forgot, hold on for 1 second, 'cause I know it was Robert De Niro. I'm trying to remember, because I remember it was Robert De Niro and Edward Norton were in the film, and I want to say it was the, I won't say it's The Job, it was the shit. What was it? The Score. It kind of reminded me of The Score, the way everything in terms of the heist itself was plotted out. Because I feel that with this movie, when you see how the ladies have to plot out, because Viola Davis is, Veronica gets this book that her husband had that plotted out everything from A to Z on how to do different heights, contexts, and people to bribe and swindle and things like that. And when she's reading the book, she basically is kind of following the guidelines of how to rob, do this last job and stuff. And the way it's done is not done in some montage way. Like you see the ladies physically doing a lot of things to plot out and do these things for this heist. Like, you got Alice who's, while she's trying to figure out, trying to gain that confidence and know her worth, you see her in her ability. She has to obtain guns at one point. You see her, try to be this. She fakes being this pathetic person in order to have somebody help her buy a gun for her and stuff. You see her kind of use her sexual appeal and niceness to try to get a car and things like that, and it works. Like I said, you see those things. You see Michelle Rodriguez using her ingenuity to trying to figure out the blueprints of it and where to go to and things like that. And it works out, and like I say, even with Veronica, she is, you see her keeping it together, because like I said, she loved her husband, and you see her keeping it together over the course of the film of like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because even before Jamal came to her like saying, hey, you owe me $2 million, she was just trying to piece together the fact that she lost her husband. Now what? And when you get laid on this whole thing of, oh yeah, you owe me blah blah blah, then it's like, okay, that happened and whatever. So, you know, overall, for me, like I said, it's hard for me to really grade this movie and stuff. Like what would I necessarily get it? Give it? I think for me, man, you know, if I really had to give it anything, I'm gonna go with the smooth nine. I'm gonna go with the smooth nine because, like I said, the film it doesn't hold your hands, and you have all these pieces and all these characters that really work. Um, and yeah, like I said, for me, 9 out of 10, it's definitely a must see. So yeah, I think that's about it. And yeah, so see you now next time for our next movie review. Peace out.
Chin chin chin